Hello and welcome to Thursday Live Lessons here in Ukulele Underground. My name is Aldrine Guerrero, joined by Mr. Aaron, the voice Nakamura. Say what's up, Aaron.
What's up?
And Mr. Kahai, the legend for again. Say what's up, Kahai.
What's up?
The legend, the voice, and Aldrine is here, and we are going to be starting Thursday Live Lessons. How this works is you guys ask us questions. We get back to you, however way we can, usually here at the podcast, or if not, we don't get back to you via email already. We answer them here on Thursday Live Lessons. Well, I come up with an answer for you. These two guys will put in their 2 cents, and we come up with the best possible answer that the three of us can provide. A super answer, if you will, right, Kai?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah. No one's questioned our authority yet. I mean, you just gotta fake it till you make it, right? I mean, give real good advice. So I sometimes worry that somebody, but then again, we're pretty honest. If we don't know something, we're like, nah, I don't know. I don't actually, like, for example, like strumming, like from like the UK kind of strumming and stuff, like whenever people ask us those kind of questions, like, oh, how do I do a whatever split stroke? And I was like, I gotta be honest with you, I'm not quite sure and I don't know. You should probably check out these sources, and then I give my answer. But I try to cover my tracks. Kai, do you?
Yeah. We come up with something. I don't know if it's a good answer.
I mean, we haven't really been called out, but I'm sure we will sooner or later. I mean, at least I haven't heard any. I mean, that any calling out. I mean, you're the email guy. So has anybody called us out for stuff? Or like, hey, you got this wrong, which I don't doubt. I mean, I'm sure we get stuff wrong all the time.
I think if anything, people might say like, "Oh, here's something to add on to what you guys said," but nothing like where it's like, "No, you're wrong."
yeah. This is a very credible podcast. Everyone listening right now, this is we know what we're doing.
We should open it up though. If somebody does hear something wrong from us, you should send us an email.
Yeah, stickers to everyone who can find the wrong things. Like, no, don't. I don't. They're like hunt it all down, and I'm gonna feel bad. I'm gonna lock myself up in my room. I'm gonna feel so bad. I'm like, maybe I don't even want to make a podcast anymore. But yeah, so Kahai, give us our first question, buddy.
So last week we George asked us what our top 5 ukulele players are, or like what our favorite ukulele players were, and then Renee asked who's our favorite ukulele teachers. So not necessarily players, but just people who might teach ukulele.
Okay, let's make this list. Let's make this list. All right, so
we should have had like a tier list.
Like the same people, I think.
We should have
right?
had Richard come here from BuzzFeed, and make our list.
And we have like SS, S tier, A tier, B tier,
OP tier. Let's see. There's some new names in there. Like, I mean, Craig and Sarah has to be in there. I love the way that they've been teaching lately.
But like James Hill.
Yeah, James Hill is an awesome teacher. So, okay, my tier list. Like, this is probably not going to be in order because how do you judge that, Favorite teachers. Ukulele teachers. In no order. I'm going to say Chris Salvador. If you guys have not checked out his UU Plus lessons and stuff, hot dang is that guy super organized. He's got great content. He's got he's just got good stuff. I teach the stuff that he teaches, because he's that good. Like the rock on inner piece, that's all Chris Salvador. So I'm not even gonna take credit for that. That's like CS, and he barely does ukulele anymore and stuff, but I mean, I think he's one of my favorite teachers because he's just so good. And he's great at explaining stuff, and great at visuals. He had handouts for us to to do, and he's awesome. I'm gonna put Craig and Sarah on the same on the same tier because I believe that they work together as a team, and it's not like, well, Sarah does or Craig teaches this and Sarah does that. No, they're together as a team, and I think Craig and Sarah deserve to be in in that top 5 list.
They're very prepared.
They're they present stuff really well. They explain stuff really well. They they do stuff. They not only teach things like as far as content goes, but they do the things in application really well. Like so you'll learn a technique or some kind of knowledge or some kind of ukulele thing, and then they'll like use it in application, and it's stuff that you could apply to like any song that you're doing. So they're great teachers. I think Benny Chong is a great like just sit down and teach. So he's still in my list. Well, Jake was responsible, like for teaching me when I was on Oahu and stuff. Like, and he taught. Like,
that would probably be the number
my number one, because that's like what kind of got me started. And it wasn't just. But the thing with him, and what we've been saying this entire time, is not just a great ukulele player, is also an amazing humanitarian. Like so, he not only taught me like how to play music, but just to kind of feel the music and how to write and just kind of access and tap into like some emotions and use that in my playing. But he also taught me like how to be a good person, and set an example for not just me but every ukulele player alive now. Like he's setting an example on how to be a respectable person, not just a ukulele player. And so how many did I do? Chris, Craig, and Sarah, Jake. So that's 3. So and Benny Chong. So I have room for one more.
Didn't you say James?
Yeah, James Hill. So James Hill, Jake and James. So that's my top 2. James Hill is such a great teacher that like I went to the first time I went to his workshop is when I did the Reno Ukulele Festival, and by gosh, like he's so good. I mean, like he's been in the system for a long time. I know he I'm gonna get the name wrong, so I'm not even gonna say it, but like he was taught by one of like the best teachers in Canada. And
it was like Langley, right?
Yeah, from the Langley. So I don't I think it's Charles, but I don't want to say what it is. But like
name?
He was taught by one of the best teachers in Canada, if in extension in the world, right? So he's really organized. He's got great content. He's got a lot of like thinking out of the box, and I just saw that he's releasing Ukulele X or whatever, like, which is a really cool thing that you guys should definitely check out. I know we're at Ukulele on the Ground, like, oh, check out our stuff, but this is one of those things you should go outside of the Ukulele on the Ground box and check out Ukulele X, because he's teaching like a lot of the he's teaching like the chopstick stuff. He's teaching the like the golpes that he's been doing. So all the unconventional ukulele things is in there, and that's something that I would watch. I'm like, that's
the
something
stuff that
amazing
he created.
Yes. So he's like, as far as out of the box and just kind of taking the ukulele to new heights. Like it's got to be James Hill. So those are my top 5: Chris, Craig, and Sarah, Benny Chung, Jake, and James. How about you, Aaron?
Yeah. Ditto.
Because I mean, you've worked with a lot of like a lot of ukulele teachers now. We've featured a lot of them and stuff, so it's not like you only work with me. You've seen all these people, and not just seen but have worked with, like, and filmed.
Yeah.
If I could add a 6, it would be Jason Arimoto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My
as favorite filming, I think.
Yep.
Bruce Shimabukuro.
For reasons we can't explain. We're not allowed, for reasons we're not allowed to explain.
No, I mean,
he was awesome.
Bruce,
he's just good time. Bruce is a good time.
Well, the thing about Bruce is that he like, how Jake is very like precise about everything. Mm-hmm. Bruce is more about the feel. So like he was pretty good at communicating that, like, this is how strumming works, because we did a strumming video with him, or a video series with him, and he, like, you could tell that it's just the way that he approaches everything on ukulele is kind of like you go about it by feel, and here is some of the ways to kind of like emphasize things that need to be emphasized and de-emphasize things that don't need to be, and he's very much like a kind of go with the flow kind of guy. And so that kind of came out in his teaching, and that's kind of how ukulele should be.
Right.
You know.
And there was a thing back then. So after Pure Heart, Jake actually built an ukulele school for himself. Not a lot of people knew this, but Ukulele Incorporated it was called. So Ukulele Inc. Started. It was it was Jake, it was Bruce, and it was like Tracy. You know, like they were like teaching this. So these are the guys like you wanted to learn from, like back then. And Jake was he was one of the teachers, but he was actually not the best teacher there. Best teacher there, apparently I heard, was Bruce. You know, Bruce really could, like you said, break down those things, you know, better than anybody else could. Like, without present those things
without putting too much pressure on you. You know,
makes it fun, makes it like easily digestible, and you know.
It's kind of like ukulele should be fun. Yeah. It should be loose, and you should be able to interpret you know, songs in the way that you interpret it, and he left room for that, and without making you feel like he's not teaching me anything. He's definitely teaching you stuff, but then it allowed you to be free to do it in your own way, feel it out. So like I enjoyed just like hanging out with him, seeing the way that he approaches teaching. So he's really good. So well, you, Kai. Oh, anything else you want to? Any other names you want to add? I don't know.
They're quality teachers we're like listing right now.
yeah. Because it's hard because, you know, like a lot of those ukulele teachers that are really good are also very good players. So like, you know, we already mentioned a lot of but favorite players.
There's also like, you know, like ukulele teachers who are not necessarily, or ukulele players who are not necessarily good teachers either. You know, like just being a good ukulele player doesn't make you a good teacher.
That's
and
true.
Vice versa.
That's
like
true.
Being a good ukulele teacher doesn't necessarily make you a good player.
I think somebody that we didn't really mention is Dr. Trey. I think he's a really good teacher.
Legendary.
Because like we got like a lot of questions asking about people saying like, oh, I have arthritis or I have something, you know, bothering my wrists. How do I play while still having that? Yeah. And Dr. Trey is like somebody who actually experiences it and can tell you like, oh, you know, like you wanna try to adjust the pressure that you're using with your hands, like to where you're not using you know, you're overstressing your hands.
He's so for those people who don't know, Dr. Trey is Tracy Terada. He still teaches on Oahu, I believe. I don't know if he's still there, but he's he teaches at what's Sekiguchi's ukulele, like little like ukulele teaching thing. I'm not Sekiguchi.
He has his own school?
Yeah, because Sekiguchi has his own school. Yeah, like on Oahu and stuff. But I forgot what it's called. But I believe Tracy teaches over there. So so you can still get lessons from him. And for those people who don't know who Tracy Terada or don't know that name, if you know Jake Shimabukuro, you are familiar with Tracy Terada, because Tracy Terada is the guy who taught Jake Shimabukuro, like, you know, a lot of that stuff that he's doing or like that he did back in like Pure Heart. So all of his like you know, all the
was he the producer?
He produced, but he was a part of that. They kind of ran a small little school too, you know, like Tracy back then. And these are just stories. I wasn't there, so I don't know like firsthand, but just stuff that Tracy kind of told me. That's how they recorded the first Pure Heart album. The first Pure Heart album was actually supposed to be a recording of a bunch of his students, but then that one, I believe they recorded, don't quote me on this, but they recorded either Waimanalo Blues or One Love, like from the first album, and that came out so well that they're like, we should just do an entire album. So what was supposed to be Tracy and his students became Pure Heart. You know,
I think we have a podcast with Tracy where we talk to him, and I think he does like explain all that kind of stuff too, like how he met Jake and how they got started working together and everything. So so that's Tracy. Yeah, and I think another thing to add on too with like Jason Arimoto, kind of like the same way, where I think you can get like the things he teaches, the blues ideas that he teaches, it's not unique to ukulele. Like you can find it, with any blues instruction or blues theory course. But the way that Jason teaches it really hones in on how you play ukulele on the blues, and that's what like makes his teaching special, I think.
Yeah, and most of these, if not all of these teachers that we listed, are still teaching, I believe. Because you can, although Benny Chung is
Chris.
Oh yeah, Chris is the only person that's not teaching, but you can get his instructions here on Ukulele. So technically, you can still learn from Chris. But Benny Chung, I believe, teaches where Tracy's teaching, so you could like book.
Is it Poi Poi?
Yeah,
is
yes,
that the one
yes,
that you're
Poi
thinking
Poi.
of?
Yeah, Ukulele Poe, Poe. So you can. I don't think you can take from them there directly, but I think you can schedule something with them to either get Tracy or
cool.
Benny Chong. I believe if they're still there, because last time I checked they were still there, but the last time I checked was years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago. So I don't know. Tracy and his like family is like a family now, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know Ukulele pays the bills, so he's probably still teaching there.
Oh, I kind of want to throw in ukulele. I sat in on one of his workshops, and it was basically you kind of like like we have Solo Secrets Revealed, where we talk about like the islands and the boxes and stuff, how to kind of improvise on the spot.
Yeah,
Lenny had his own version of that.
Oh, cool.
And so like the way that he explained it and taught it, it's like obviously he came up with it separately. It was like a separate evolution of the same concept. Yeah. And like I thought his presentation was really well done. So he like when he does workshops, he has his Britney Spears microphone and he walks around with his ukulele, and then he does his thing. But he's like, and he has like his iPad kind of hooked up. And just like his presentation of it was really well done, and it was kind of intuitive the way that he kind of explained soloing. Because he started off kind of with like everybody kind of knows the C scale, but like how do you go beyond that, and then how do you apply it to other keys and stuff. And so he did a really good job. I liked Lenny, and the two of them together, Lenny and Cynthia, they're great at organizing people, bringing people together for the purpose of learning and enjoying the ukulele. So yeah, I think they've kind of created like a great community.
I think like a couple more people too is like we're just gonna keep adding people as we go. But it's like Abe and Neil Chin.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Neil.
Chin.
Both of them though, like I'm sure like they could teach you beginner stuff, but I think you get a lot from them if you're like more of an advanced player. And you can be like, because I somebody, one of our members, Mark, like when we were in San Francisco, he went to Abe's workshop. And he came back, and I was like, "Oh, how was it?" He's like, "Oh, it's like mind blowing. It's just like things that I would never think about, like And it's like so eye opening. So I think the same thing with Neil too. Like Neil has like a workshop on our site where he explains modes and like chords and stuff. And I've heard like a lot of people say like, "Oh yeah, this totally opened my mind to thinking about things differently than how I was earlier."
So they're kind of high level players.
Yeah.
But if you're beyond a beginner, like you have a lot of stuff to learn from both of them.
Yeah. Let's see who else. I don't know, but yeah, there's a lot of ukulele teachers out there and stuff. But if you want quality instruction beyond like just here's a C chord, here's an F chord, so beyond stuff that you already know, these are the guys that you should seek out. Really, if you want to move on to also Brian Tolentino. Like I don't want to like go on without mentioning Brian Tolentino. Uncle Brian, he's also great. Like whenever I get to sit down with him and ask him stuff, like he's always down to like teach me things. And I know he also sometimes teaches at Poi Poi. So like most of these guys, Poi Poi is is a place to go, and that's on Oahu. He's got a really great approach to just adding, sprinkling some magic or fairy dust, he calls it. Sprinkling some fairy dust into the stuff. So if you want to learn that he's the best guy to go check out, and he tours, like he does a teaching tour, like he plays also, but then I think most people kind of go to see like his he's a great player, and I'm not saying that like but like he's okay at play. No, he's a great player, but an even better teacher. So if you're looking for quality instruction, and
then we mention Calais? Because that
Calais.
Yeah, that's automatic.
Automatic.
He was at our retreat, and like the fact that he taught and you taught kind of separately, and then you taught together, it kind of brought everything together. Your style, his style of teaching, your style of teaching, your style of playing, and his style of playing, and then bringing it both together. I think people really got a lot out of seeing both, and then putting them together in their minds. So.
And that was like such a on the spot decision, because we were supposed to switch again. Like the third day, I was supposed to have my my group A again, and then Calais was supposed to have group B again. But I was like, no, why don't we just condense it? We just sit down and we answer everyone's questions.
Yeah.
So like we took at least like a couple hours and stuff, like just sitting down and getting to know what people wanted to know about the ukulele, about our styles, about our approach and stuff. We're just how we think, in general. So it was a really cool workshop that we did, like a co-workshop with Calais and I, and that was totally improvised, because it's like, I think most people will get something out of this instead of like breaking them up into groups, and we teach kind of the same thing, So it's good. So you got Aldrine one day, Calais one day, and Calais and Aldrine. Guys, you guys had to go to the retreat. It was you guys missed out. It was awesome.
I think the thing too that people might not have known and learned when you and Calais did your joint, kind of workshop, was like how many people or how many ukulele players kind of around all of our ages, like were in kind of like learned from like Troy Fernandez and from Pure Heart, like were influenced by them, and seeing like where both of you guys kind of came from the same place and then like diverged, right? Because even though you guys you guys were talking about like how since Calais is in Iron Mango, and he's like, oh, I already know all this songs, like you guys want me to play with you guys? I know like your whole set list. Yeah, no problem.
I was ribbing on him. I was like, hey, if you want to take a day off, Calais, like just want to call it sick for one of these gigs, and I just show up out of nowhere, and then they're forced to take me. They're like, why would Calais do this last minute? Like, I was like, guess you'll do. I'm like, yep, I guess I'll do.
Yeah, so like, and even like when during the jam too, right? Like, I think there are songs that like I hear music, it's like Calais just jumped on that, like he didn't need like prompting of like, oh, it's this, you gotta play it like this, and the picking is like this. He's just like, no, I know this song. So both of you guys like kind of came from the same place, but then eventually like it's like
the styles, took it
and it's
in
not
their own direction.
It's not like you guys are completely in different places, but there is like a divergence of how you guys play and how you guys like write music or how you guys think about music even too,
it was cool. Like the day that Calais arrived, I had to kind of like show him around, because we couldn't check into the retreat house until like 3 or 4 o'clock or something like that. So to take him around, and I didn't know like where to take him. It's not like he's a tourist or anything, It's, he lives in Hawaii. It's not like let me show you Waimea Canyon or whatever. It's like no. So we went to the music store that Mike now works at, because Mike used to work at Kauai Music and Sounds, but now he works at Scotty's Music. So I took him to Scotty's Music, and it was Mike and it was Kavika that was working. So Kavika is the guy who did Vahine Ilikea with us, a few months ago, and it was kind of cool, because it was the two of them working. They're just like, oh, you guys can just, if you guys are just here to hang out, you guys can just go in that like back room and just take whatever instruments you want, just jam and stuff. And I took a guitar, like an Islander guitar, and Calais took like a ukulele, and we're just jamming for like an hour and a half. And it was just like a great way to kind of like catch up with my friend, because he came and it's like, all right, cool, we're like talking story in the car, we're talking story like during when I took him to breakfast, but it wasn't until like we sat down at like Scotty's Music and just played, and like all the customers were like, what is that going on in the back there? And it was cool of like Kavika and Mike to not be like, hey, these guys are blah 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 blah, like they didn't make a big deal, so the people didn't like, they listened but they didn't like linger or stay because like, oh, I know they want to just be, just want to hang out and be left alone. But it was really cool because just getting to getting to know somebody, but catching up with somebody musically in that sense, because we when I jam with someone, it's like, oh, okay, let's play this song, and I would play it, and I know Kale doesn't, like you said, doesn't need to know the chords and stuff, and it's just like I just kind of give him the nod and then he'll do his picking, so it was like kind of like old times again. So it's really 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 cool. It was a magical moment for me, like with my friend to close personal friend Kale got me out. My friend, to just kind of catch up again. It was really 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 cool. And we played I Hear Music, we played like a bunch of stuff like roller skates, we did it was fun. It was like an hour and a half of just jamming, like a private concert for just Mike and Kavika. Because Kavika was tripping out. I was like, oh my god, Kale got me out. And so was Mike, but it was really cool. It was fun.
Even when, I mean, this isn't exactly the same, but like even when Abe came on that day, and you guys were just playing around, like I made the joke. I was like, "Oh, play Spain," because I knew that would not be an easy song, you know. So I said, and like Abe was like, "Yeah, let's play it."
He like plays it, and like I think a half step down or up or something. So I'm just like, what? This is like new chords, and I didn't even know the chords to begin with. So it's like changing keys on me. I'm just like, I don't want you to be disappointed in me, Father Abe. Like I swear I could play better than this. I swear I'm good. I'm like a professional, I think. I just didn't want to disappoint him.
But it was really good. But then Kale came like after you guys finished playing that, and then you guys all kind of played together. And then when Abe left, I was like kind of hanging outside, and Kale was there, and Kale started playing Spain too. And it's like, you guys, it's. I mean, it's not like you guys know everything. I know, like, during the jam, I think Margaritaville, like, you're kind of telling Claire, like, oh, this is, like, the melody, right?
Yeah.
And he just came up with something on his own instead. But, like, you guys kind of have a shared knowledge of, like, a lot of songs, enough so that it's, like, you can just, like, jump into something and be like, oh, yeah, it doesn't even really matter what key we're playing. I know where the song's gonna go. And
yeah.
I know where the song's gonna lead.
It was good times, man. It's good times. So you retreat. If you ever see another email going, hey, we're gonna do one, just jump on it.
I know all the people that that came to the retreat said,
you better
already,
let us know first.
They all said, if you're gonna do this again, I will definitely make time for it, no matter when it happens.
But I mean, it's hard to top that. That's why we're just like, I don't know if if we'll do another, because how do we top that? Like, it was everything just kind of lined up, and we're still talking about it. 2 weeks later, it's just like, oh dang, that was one of the coolest things we've ever done, if not the coolest thing we've done.
It was fun.
Yeah, man. Any other questions, Kai? That was a 30-minute question. So can we title this, these are a few of my favorite teachs?
I think I'm gonna Ukulele Teacher Tier List.
Okay, tier list.
Somebody did ask a question, and it's pretty good for today because it's about the thumb pick.
Yes.
But going back to the teacher thing, right before we like move on, I just wanted to add, like, everybody that we listed are like ukulele centric teachers, and I think that's, if you're like, no matter where you are, try and look for somebody who's like that, because there's also a lot of we get a lot of emails or a lot of messages saying like, oh, I tried to take lessons from somebody who said that they're a ukulele teacher, but they were actually like a guitar player who could
just
play
knows
enough.
kind of how to play ukulele.
I mean, I don't know what to say about that.
I think you can just be careful. Like, if you see, like, a Craigslist listing or something, and it says, like, I teach guitar, piano, whatever, and then at the very end, like, in little asterisk brackets, it's like, ukulele.
Yeah.
It's
Also,
like,
teaches
Also,
ukulele.
Yeah.
I mean, I know strings. I guess I could teach
Yeah.
this.
Or I know there's somebody I talked to specifically where they said that the person was like, "Oh, you have to play baritone ukulele. You can't play. I don't teach anything else."
Red
What?
flags.
Yeah,
red
Yeah,
flags all
yeah.
over that.
It's like, I'm sure that person is fine, but yeah, like, try and find somebody who it seems like, oh yeah, ukulele is the instrument that I play.
Yeah.
And, it's not bad if they teach guitar and stuff too. Just make sure that they're not coming from a place where it's like, oh, I'm a guitar teacher and I can kind of play ukulele. So I'll show you.
But they're not gonna be like that. They're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I play ukulele."
Of course. Yeah, give me your money. Yeah, Kale and I were actually talking about that. One of the nights we were just kind of hanging out outside. One of the nights we're just hanging out and we're just like, oh, these like we're just talking about the same thing, like ukulele teachers and stuff. And then we got into the subject of like guitar players like teaching ukulele, and he's giving me examples of some of the stuff that they teach, and I'm just like, oh. So there's a lot, and I don't want to throw shade on anyone. So maybe I'll stop right here.
Not anybody in particular.
Not anyone in particular.
It happens a lot more. Often
I don't want to throw shade at anybody.
Yeah.
I love everyone.
Well, yeah, and I think they're just like we said earlier, like somebody said, "Oh, I only teach baritone." There's like little red flags, like where the person's like, "Oh, you can play ukulele with a pick," and then they start picking stuff on the ukulele. It's like, I don't think you're supposed to use a plastic guitar pick on a ukulele. It's okay. But,
oh, that's a good segue.
Yeah, it's a good. Oh, I like it. See, you're like podcasting legend now. You just know how to make them smooth transitions.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. It was all intentional.
Go ahead.
So Kevin asks, is there a way to chunk if you're using a thumb pick for melody / riff, but also want to play the chord / rhythm?
Because I mean, yes, you can. You can chunk with the thumb pick, but prepare it to kind of like hit your soundboard as well. I do it because I don't know. I have on my ukuleles that I use on stage, I have a clear pick guard, so it doesn't really do too much damage to it, But if you're playing an ukulele without a pick guard, then it might be, it might hurt it, so it might scratch it and stuff. If you're going to chunk on your ukulele with a I don't even know how to explain this, like, because that I mean I would
for people just like tuning in right now, you don't usually use a thumb pick?
I don't usually use a thumb pick. I broke my nail. I like to say I'm injured. That's a joke. I broke my thumbnail, and right after the day after the retreat, I broke it and something. I've been using a thumb pick. I don't normally like using thumb picks that much in that sense that like some techniques like that, like the chunk doesn't really like work too well. If you can control the chunk that you're chunking, and that the thumb and the thumb pick doesn't go any lower than the A, see right there, so you can, because it'll just kind of hit it on the on top of your fretboard. Okay, see,
it's not as clean though.
You get that noise, but it's not gonna hurt your top. For my other ukuleles, I just go straight for it. I just go for it. But
does that if you're just using an undersaddle pickup, it doesn't really pick up through the speakers?
Yeah, but if you're using a passive pickup, it will. Yeah. But I mean, to be completely honest with you, like the chunk shouldn't really be overdone anyways. If you're using a thumb pick, I would chunk less, and I have been ever since I've been kind of using this thumb pick. I wouldn't be chunking as much as I do. So for example, in a strumming that would normally be like this, where I'm chunking every phrase, I would do something like this with the thumb pick.
Less often.
So I would do it less often. But it doesn't mean that I'm not chunking, which I am. So that's kind of one way to do the chunk with a thumb pick. If you want to go for it, go for it. If you're if you're not worried about your instrument or anything like that, but if you are, see if you can train yourself to just kind of hit the fretboard. So the way that I'm doing, I don't know if I can kind of do it at an angle where there. So I do this. So this is slow. So that's where the chunk ends there.
And try to not get it caught in the strings.
Yeah.
On the up.
But for the most part, that's how I would do it. Okay. Or you can use like a lower part like this, So if the chunk uses this right here, sorry for all the audio listeners right now. So if the chunk uses the side of your thumb, if you have the thumb pick here, you can try to go a little bit lower and use the side of your palm here. Still never this. Okay? Here. So here's an example. So that's me stopping it from there. But that you still run into like getting it there,
It's almost like you're doing a golpe.
Yeah. So it's tough, but it's doable. But it's a lot more challenging. As if like chunking for some people isn't already like kind of a challenge, like this would be an even better challenge, and that's why grow your thumbnail.
I think like if you're gonna wear a thumb pick anyways, like ukulele players who wear thumb picks, they play to the strengths of the thumb pick, so they might like do finger picking
more
and they do
than
more than
pull off stuff.
Yeah, so it's kind of like there's things that you can do better with the thumb pick, so you can try and look into those techniques to kind of substitute for whatever chunking instead. Like why not use it instead, because it's an opportunity that you have, if you didn't have the thumb pick anyways. So yeah.
It's really been kind of a challenge to be using a thumb pick recently, because I was just telling the guys that whenever I do my strum and then I'm gonna do a roll, it's usually my roll, although we teach it kind of like this, like pinky ring middle pointer, which is a roll. I actually start the roll on the upbeat, so it's like up and then with the pinky ring middle pointer.
So up with your thumb,
up with my thumb.
Before that.
Yeah. So instead, because I can't really be doing this with the thumb pick, but I guess I could, but it's just like at a weird angle. So it'd be like this, where like, so it's possible, but if you're, then it'll do that, So good. I'm glad it did that. So if instead, like if I have my thumb pick, I do it like this, or like I have my pointer finger like kind of dragging up and then doing it. But because I'm dragging it up, it's like my pointer finger is hitting these fret wires and like dragging it, so I have to kind of hit it and then drag it up, and it's actually like taking off some skin cells here on my pointer finger. So I'm probably not gonna be doing that anymore. I'm just gonna try to see if I can do it with the roll of my thumb with the thumb pick like that. You heard it again. It's like it's not clean, but I just maybe need practice. So I should just I should take my own advice and perhaps practice before I go on stage.
I think people ask us questions like these expecting because they think like, oh, strumming has to be concrete. It has to stay one way. Like if the strumming says it has a chunk, you have to keep the chunk in there. You can't you replace it or do something else. But I think strumming is the least concrete thing that in like playing ukulele.
Music.
Yeah, because like
just keeping the rhythm basically. So
and it, it's one of those things where as long as you have the result, the means to get to the result doesn't really matter. So like that's I was like bringing Raiatea up because she does up strums while Uncle Brian does down strums, and you would think like
that wouldn't work, but
but it does. But it
as
does.
long as it syncs with the rhythm, it does. Yeah.
And her rhythm is so good that it does sync, and she doesn't. I'm sure, like, you ask her about it, she probably doesn't even think about it. It's just...
She doesn't even know that she's doing it.
Yeah, she's just like, oh, I was just trying to recreate that rhythm, you know, that rhythm that you hear in hula halas and stuff. So, yeah. It's... As long as it kind of sounds right, like, people can't really call you out on, like, oh, you know, whatever. This is what you're doing.
Yeah. It's kind of like... Like the rhythm part, like if you're using a shaker to create rhythm, it's like it really doesn't matter how you hold your shaker as long as you're getting that same sound out of it. If you're holding it sideways or up and down or whatever, like as long as you're creating the rhythm, it doesn't really matter.
I want to add too that like I use a thumb pick because on stage, there's a lot of demanding songs that I would need a thumb pick for. Okay,
if you don't have your nail.
Yeah, if I don't have my nail, but there are lots of times where I don't have to use the thumb pick at all. Like last night when we played at the live show, I would put my thumb pick down because I don't have to do any crazy picking. So if I don't have to do any crazy pickings, I put it down. Then I use my fingers anyway. So then I would just kind of chunk for like normal. So using a thumb pick is for specific songs anyway. It's not like something that I just have with me all the time that I would always strum with. So if I'm playing a song that like Island Style, for example, like I wouldn't put a thumb pick on my thumb and like sacrifice the chunk and the rhythm patterns just so that I can have a thumb pick, because Island Style, if I am gonna pick, I would do finger picking instead. And with finger picking, it actually sounds better if I'm using my flesh for the C and the G, so that the C and the G doesn't overpower these bottom two strings right here. If I were to use a thumb pick and if I were to do finger picking, these two strings that I'm using my thumb for would overpower these two, thus like burying the lead parts or the melody lines. So I use these sparingly, even during shows. I just have them on right now because I want to get used to having them on and stuff, but for the most part I do use these sparingly. So when you're learning how to do that chunk with the thumb pick, it's only going to be for those songs that you need to chunk and do picking. Like it's not something that you
picking intensive song that you have to kind of sacrifice your chunk quality.
So in that sense, if it's a picking heavy song anyway, like maybe like make the strumming, you can modify the strumming so you don't have to chunk. In that sense.
Yeah,
so there's a way around it. Yeah.
If it's a picking heavy song, you're probably not the lead rhythm or the rhythm
so you wouldn't need
anyway,
to chunk anyway.
Like I think, for example, I don't know, I would think you would use a thumb pick for like Stand By Me, just specifically for those tremolo parts, right? Like but then that song does have chunks in it, so like
I would just use left hand mutes. So if I were to do Stand By Me, and then
not chunking at all.
Yeah, so left hand mutes, and then I would do this to get this noise. So instead of doing this, I'll just do this.
Yeah,
and it's pretty similar to.
Yeah, so there are other things that you could do in place of the chunk.
So not like now I gotta learn how to do that. When I have my thumb pick, not necessarily. It's pretty. It's not that often though you would use a thumb pick.
I even saw like on Friday when you broke your thumb pick, like live, for songs that you needed to pick and you needed that nail pick. Yeah. Instead of using your thumb, you just like used your pointer finger.
Oh, my pointer finger? No, I use my middle finger.
Oh yeah. Oh. But you're using it like you're holding a pick, right? Like a guitar pick, and you're just using the nail.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I explained that a long time ago. That like if my thumbnail breaks, then I use my pointer finger. If that's short, then I use my middle finger. If that's short also, then I use my ring finger onto my pinky. So I can actually tremolo with all 5 fingers. It's like here's my
It's not the
tremolo.
most ideal situation, but
it's possible.
yeah,
Like,
last resort.
so if you watch last week's one, I'm doing tremolos. It's with my middle finger. But it's not ideal.
Yeah.
And I don't like to use it because it'll break. And I'd rather use a thumb pick and save my nails rather than having to grow like 5 nails at the same time. I'd rather just grow 1 and use a thumb pick.
I'm guessing though for like a song that is like strumming and chunk heavy and occasionally has like little fills or riffs that you would just like again you would either finger pick or just use that technique for those times instead of like okay, I gotta use my thumb pick and I have to change. So it's kind of like analyzing the song and coming to a compromise of what you're gonna give up or what you're gonna keep in the song. You know, what's important to the song and what should I leave in. That it really helps to decide that kind of stuff.
But I mean, that's why you use your thumbnail in the first place, right? Because it's the least likely to break. I guess.
Yeah. So I didn't break my thumbnail playing ukulele. I broke my thumbnail doing something else. So it's not like, oh, you said it wouldn't break. It doesn't. Like if I was just playing ukulele with it, it wouldn't break in that sense.
But life requires you to do other things.
I would like to say I was doing something cool, like when I broke it, but it wasn't something cool. I don't even want to say it. I'm so embarrassed. It's like I would say something like I was down at the courts playing basketball with like shirtless and like I want to sound like a tough guy, like I was
fixing my engine and
just the screwdriver. What's a more manlier tool than a screwdriver?
The socket wrench.
The socket wrench just
slipped off the boat.
Oh my god!
I used too much strength and the whole boat broke off, and my thumb jammed into it and ripped my nail off.
That's totally what happened.
Okay. That's what happened. That is what happened. I don't know about you guys, but I was fixing my car. And after I played basketball, sweaty, shirtless basketball.
It's actually interesting talking about this because for last week's song challenge, I mostly used a guitar pick with my guitar recording it, but then there's like a finger picking part, and I recorded it with the guitar pick first, but the rhythm wasn't right, so I recorded it with finger picking. I didn't like the tone of my fingers, like finger picking. Went back to the guitar pick. It didn't come out right. I tried to do like a hybrid of like both guitar picking and finger picking. I couldn't do it. So I just, in the end, I used finger picking. And then I kind of like EQ'd it to kind of sound like it's a pick, a little bit more. But
add a little more highs and
like that's one of those situations. If it's like, if I just had nails, if I could just stop biting my nails, I could have gotten that part perfectly without having to do so much stuff. And even then, I was like, I'm not completely happy with this, but I gotta do it like this anyways. This is the only way I can.
So you gotta train yourself for those kinds of those kinds of situations. Like last week with the middle finger tremolo and stuff, and you would be So you gotta train yourself for all scenarios that could happen.
Yeah. Jim in the chat was asking, are there reasons why people would use the thumb pick aside from replacing their thumbnail? Like, because there are some players that just use that.
I think prefer to use thumb pick on.
Yeah. Some people like, especially if you're a low G user and stuff, that would make your bass kind of stand out more. So guys like Kupaoa, for example, like when they came out and they played
Kellen.
So Kellen from Kupaoa was using a thumb pick, and I believe it was a better choice than using his fingers, because that would make because it was just ukulele and bass, so it's not like they had a guitar. So like having the low G and playing with the thumb pick makes those low notes brighter. And making a better sound overall. So that's I believe there's some like sonic reasons why.
He also usually plays guitar with the
Yes.
picks and finger picks.
I was gonna say that. So a lot of like guitar players who go from guitar to ukulele would go for a thumb pick because that's just kind of what's comfortable for them.
Yeah.
Because guitar players, like they have the bass strings at the top, so using thumb pick really makes those bass notes like ring out. So it's one of those reasons.
Yeah, it's kind of like a slack key thing too, right? If you're used to doing slack key, and even Kellen did bring an ukulele that was tuned in slack key so that he could play a song that he wanted to.
He had a not a GL6, they call it a D6 because everybody calls it all different. Colo calls theirs D6. Kanile calls theirs a GL6.
Yeah.
And
Guitar Lele.
Yeah, Guitar Lele.
Yeah.
Does I want to say one of them, right? Eddie Kamaya and Peter Moon. One of them uses a thumb pick,
Yeah,
I think, right?
Peter Moon uses a thumb pick, but Peter Moon was primarily a guitar player, so it's one of those things. And played slack key and that kind of style too.
That's what they're used to.
Yeah, and I think like it is like something from before that kind of like translated to their playing, right? There's like there wasn't like ukulele specific players really back then, so it's just like, oh, you play guitar like this, why not play ukulele like this too?
Yeah.
Okay, any last minute
stylistic
questions?
choices, I guess.
Paul asked like, what were you doing when you broke your thumb? But we answered that, right? You're fixing your You're fixing your.
If you guys really want to know, I'll tell the story.
You're fixing your Dodge truck.
My Dodge Ram. You're
changing it so you can go off-roading and
my Chevy S10. My father-in-law recently went to Vegas, and you guys know that I'm like I collect like playing cards now and stuff. So he got me a bunch of playing cards, and he took a bunch of playing cards from that he had, that's been just kind of sitting in his closet and stuff. I'll take them. So he had this like it was a Anaheim Ducks like deck of playing cards from like 2000 whatever, but it's like at least 10 years ago. So it's old, and it's like not like traditional like poker size and stuff. So it's like skinnier. And since it's so old, it's like stuck to the tuck case. Like the cards themselves are stuck to the tuck case. So I took off like the plastic covering for the deck like of cards, and I got a cellophane. Yep. I took out the cover, like the flap. I took the flap out, and because they're kind of stuck in, and they're not even like regular poker size, like, but there's like a little slit that you can kind of grab. So my thumb is there, and like trying to pull it out. I'm like, I don't got it, and I'm like trying to wiggle it loose and stuff. Like this is stuck because it's old. It's like an old deck of cards that's stuck, And the coating of it like is not that not that great for heat also because it'll stick together. So I'm just like, I think I almost got it, and like I pulled as hard as I could, and then like it still didn't go. So my nail went from here to tatak, and it just like broke it right in the middle, and it broke not just the nail, but and you can't see it here, but it went through to like the pink part, So there's still a part, although there's nail now growing, there's still a part that's like skinnier than the rest, or like it broke from breaking that way. So that's like the lamest way to like to sacrifice my like my my way of living. Like I make a living because of my thumbnail, like playing ukulele and stuff, and that's a dumb way to break that. So it's like super embarrassing.
It wasn't even like a super rare deck of cards or anything.
It wasn't. It was just like an old deck of Anaheim Ducks playing cards. And I was like, I just wanna see. It wasn't like I even played with them afterwards. I just wanted to see them. I just like. It was.
You should have just kept it in the.
But
plastic.
It was my thumbnail was longer than usual anyway, and I didn't want to break it because I didn't want it to be too short for the retreat. I knew it was too long, But I always get that point where like I cut it, and then I always cut it too short, no matter how like how short I cut it. If I don't just buff it, it's always gonna be too short. And even then, sometimes when I just buff it, it's too short. So because it's retreat time, I didn't want to risk it. And then the day after the retreat, Oh no, 2 days. Monday when the mail arrives, like, oh snap, a package from my father-in-law. oh cool. Pack? No, it's the worst. But if anyone asks,
a month of like waiting for it to grow again.
But if anyone asks, I was fixing my car after playing sweaty basketball. My truck, my S10. What's a Ford F-150? Like what's a very manly like
250.
My F-250. I was fixing my semi after driving.
I was fixing Optimus Prime
after a long day of driving cross country and challenging people to arm wrestling. Oh, if you guys get that reference, I love you.
You gotta turn your hat back.
That's my cap.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, when you turn your cap around, your thumbnail just starts growing.
That's how it broke. Actually, somebody who wanted to arm wrestle me, cheated and just broke my thumbnail. That's how it happened. Let's just say that.
You're like, oh,
I was making my deliveries in my semi.
And blood started coming out of your nose.
Yeah.
And your imaginary son was like, come on, Dad, you can do it. So,
yeah. He was cheating. I still won though, because I'm that manly.
It looks like we're gonna have to put on the strap. Because he let go.
The question is, do I put a reference to this, or is it just if people know?
Yeah,
you can put a reference. You can put a reference.
Okay.
You know.
To see if they got the reference, just to check.
And then Kevin and Renee both kind of talked about my nails break before it gets long enough,
or not being able to grow.
Yeah, Renee says I can't get my nails to grow at all. Have you ever tried acrylics?
There's a lot of people that use acrylics actually. Calais Gamial uses acrylics. I know Brian Tolentino uses acrylics, or gel nails would be better. I know Kupaoa Kellen uses acrylics. He said,
Mm-hmm.
So there, people have used them. I have used them. But I play pretty rough. So although they're good for 1 or 2 gigs, I just can't risk the 1 or 2 gigs and having to peel them off and then put a new one. It hurts, I'm like a little pansy.
It weakens your nail, your natural nail.
It weakens the natural and it hurts. Because you don't want to just keep it on until it grows out, because you run the risk of it breaking while you're playing. And because it's been on your nail for a long time, if it breaks, because this has happened, if it breaks mid-show, that top of your nail is super raw. Because it hasn't been used in forever. So if you strum your ukulele with your pointer finger, it's going to hurt, because it hasn't touched that the nail underneath for a while, and it sucks. So, kudos to the people that can, but I only have to do it one time, and I'm like, nope, no, never again.
Yeah.
But I used to use gel. The gel nails are pretty cool, and that's something that doesn't.
It's just like a gel coating or something.
Yeah. Because you don't have to. Because some people put the acrylic on and then put the gel on top of that. But the way that I used to do it was I would just let the nail grow and then put the gel on top of the nail. So it's like a gel on top of my natural nail. So it just makes it super, super tough. Yeah, so that works, If you're going down that route, that's a safer route. There's my sister had this kind of nails, a gel nail set that she got, has the blue light and stuff. You can cure it and whatnot. It's relatively cheap. You can do it at home, so you don't have to go to a nail salon to have it done all the time,
because that gets expensive if you're
maintaining
it.
It gets irritating for the people who are there, because no one wants to do one nail.
One nail.
No one wants to do
so you would only do it on your thumb, or
yeah.
Okay.
And because I have another story about that. I did it on all 5 of my hands, and because all 5 of my fingers, because I was recording Bandito Tyler the album, and I'm like, okay, well, I want to I'm gonna be doing all these rolls and stuff, and I tried it on my thumb, and it was good. I'm like, okay, I'll just put them all on all 5 of my fingers. And if you listen to that album closely, you're gonna hear a lot of this. From a lot of that. So I didn't I'm doing it all 5 of my fingers. just because I don't like that clackety clack sound. Yeah, that was one of the things that I didn't like about the album. But we mixed it in a way that it's not that bad, but raw, like the raw files were unbearable. Yeah.
I think also, like Kevin says, my nail breaks before it gets long enough. I think
maybe it might be too long.
Yeah, you also don't need it exceptionally long. Like Jake's nail is probably like it will probably surprise people how short it is. And I know like for everybody it's like a little bit different. So try to find the size that's like just right for you, you know. If you can get like a clean tone out of your picking with your nail, that's really all you want. Anything longer than that, it's not really like helping you anymore, you know.
Because the shorter it is, and we've explained this before, the shorter your nail is, as long as you're still using the nail to hit the strings, the more density you're getting from the finger itself. So for example, your thumb, if you're using mainly your nail to hit the strings, you're gonna get a thinner sound. But see, like that note is pretty good because it's pretty short. So I'm getting more of my the weight from my thumb itself and the tone of the flesh, but getting the using the nail to hit this to hit the string initially. Oh, not initially, but at the end. So initial hit is the flesh, and then it goes to nail, and then out. I want to say Jake actually has it just a little bit longer than this. So if you can see how short that is, Jake Shimbukuro just has it maybe just a little bit, because I can already kind of play with just this. A little bit longer would be perfect for Jake. Almost there, buddy. That's 2 weeks.
Don't tempt fate.
Yeah, I know, right? So it doesn't have to be that long. I just grow mine that long because I'm too lazy to really like, you know, meticulously take care of it and stuff. But someone like Jake, he has to, and he can't risk breaking it if it's like too long, and it's good for a better sound anyway. So yeah, the less the shorter the nail is, the better the sound. The longer the nail is, the easier it is to play it though, because you know, you don't have to kind of hit the hit the strings a certain way, and it's kind of like using a pick, you know, like using a like a regular plastic pick on your ukulele. It's like that easy to do some pickings with, but it doesn't sound as good as if it was shorter, because it's too bright. The brightness kind of comes out because it's just nailed and there's no density behind it. Yeah. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah,
but you definitely don't need it to be like where the nail is
super
completely
long.
hanging off, and it, you know, looks like as Edward Scissorhands. Like it doesn't need to be that long. Anna asked if you tried mandolin before.
I have, and I was terrible at it. No, but I have it. It's fun. It's a different tuning and stuff. I fooled around with it. I liked it, but I don't know. I would have to like learn a bunch of like new chord shapes and stuff. But and maybe one day, you know, I'll really put some time in it.
Hi has one.
Yeah, I really liked the mandolele that Mr. Bill Griffin made from Kanilea. So there's a Kanilea mandolele out there. It's not branded Kanilea, but he made it at Kanilea, so it's technically a Kanilea uke, but it's made by Bill Griffin. He used to be the guy over at Finishing in Kanilea, and he was a mandolele player, or a mandolin player. And then he built himself an ukulele. There's a picture like of Jake playing the mandolele, but I like that a lot. It was really cool. It was something like that I could get into. I could get into that mandolele.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You can actually go to mandolele.com.
Oh yeah, there's a mandolele.com.
And that's him.
Oh
Bill,
yeah, cool.
Bill Griffin.
Yeah. Oh nice. Maybe I'll get one from Bill.
Yeah.
Bill makes. Can I see?
Yeah. Right here, mandolele.
Oh, beans. Oh, that is sick. That's the only Bill.
That's the one.
That is cool. Yeah, I played it. So every time I would go to Kanilea to visit back then, when Bill was still working there, I would always kind of hit him up like, "Can I jam your mandolele?"
So what is it taking from the mandolin and the ukulele? Like what is...
It's an ukulele shape and kind of got the 4 strings and stuff, but the tuning is
sevenths, like mandolin,
like a mandolin.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool, and he like rips it. Bill is he's a ripper shredder. That guy, you know,
On
he's
mandolin.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So
amazing-
it's nylon strings.
So it's just
But-
like a uke, but it's
but
just tuned like a mandolin.
Like a mandolin.
And I think he breaks it a certain way so that it handles that,
Yeah.
that high tuning.
Yeah.
The thing with the mandolin too is it's people don't realize it's double string. I mean, most of them.
Yeah.
Double string, and the neck is thinner than most ukulele necks. It's like really thin. So like the width of the neck is really thin. So when you try to do picking and stuff, you have to be super accurate that you're hitting just the two strings that you want.
Yeah, so for those people who know how to play mandolin and want to check it out, mandolele.com. We haven't talked about this ever, I think. The first time we're talking about this. Bill Griffin, he makes some dang good instruments. Good stuff. All right, so with that said, we're gonna end it right here. Or is there any other last minute questions that we should answer today, Kahai?
No last minute, but should we do another challenge?
Ooh, maybe next week.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
at 2:05 already.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're already 5 minutes over. We'll set a new challenge next week, you know, and stick around for one-on-one coaching. And tomorrow, check out the Aloha Friday Live Jams, where we announce the winners of the 2 ukuleles that were given away because of the Australian Red Cross.
Yeah, like our charity drive.
Yeah, our charity drive for like Australian brush fires and stuff. So we'll be announcing those winners, and if you donated to our drive, we're gonna pull not just those those prizes, but we're gonna pull a bunch of other prizes as well. So yeah, check out the jam tomorrow. Right? Have a great one, everyone. On behalf of these 2 other awesome, handsome dudes, we'll see you folks later. Aloha.